everybody. Welcome to today's bean recipe from the Daily Bean, my cookbook. And from what I'm understanding, it seems like the meat sections are going to be a little bit barer than they have been, but it's okay. We've got it covered. We're going to replace this protein with something much more healthier and easier to digest. So today we're making pasta fagiole. It's Italian. What can I say about pasta fagiole other than it's a fall night and coming home into a house that smells of simmering garlic and slow cooked tomatoes. And it's a scent that makes you want to stay home, be at home. And since we have to be at home, that's a good thing. So pasta fagiole is a peasant dish. It's a way to feed a family for pennies. Only this version is a little bit more elegant. Compliments of my childhood friend Suzie, she has managed to make extraordinary out of ordinary. So for this version of pasta fagiole, we are going to need a very good olive oil. We will need 1 medium-sized onion chopped. You could chop it tiny or you could chop it big, it doesn't matter. It's a very hearty meal, so the bigger chunks will just blend in with everything. You will need 1 stalk of celery, chopped up. The sad part about this particular recipe that I could not find is it calls for fennel. Fennel is a very celery-like bulb that has an anise taste that gives it somewhat of a different flavor. So what I have done is I've added a little bit extra celery for this, just for the texture involved, and we'll make up for the flavor with some extra fennel seed later. You'll need 4 cloves of garlic, which you can grind and run through a garlic press or chop very finely. You will also need 1 teaspoon of oregano, which I have here, 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, a little more if you like things a little bit spicier, and 1/2 teaspoon of fennel seed. You will also need 2 teaspoons of an orange zest. All of these flavors are going to fuse together into an amazing taste and scent. You will also need a tablespoon of anchovie paste. If you can't find the paste, no problem. You could use 6 flat anchovies and just mash them up really to make a paste. We have 28 ounces, which is equivalent to 2 cans of diced tomatoes. You will need the juice and everything for that, so do not drain those. And you also are going to find a nice hunk of a solid Parmesan. We're going to be cutting the rind off. And you will see before you cut off, there's a discoloration. And we're going to look for that discoloration, which will indicate how much of that is rind. There's a more aged flavor toward the rind of this cheese. And this is the part we will be getting our flavor from. Also, a 1/2 pound of orzo, which is a tiny little pasta. And a 1/2 pound is equivalent to just about half a box. And the bean, the protein. We'll need 2 cans of canellini beans. The canellini bean is the largest of the white beans. It's a very creamy texture. If you absolutely cannot find canellini, Great Northern will do, but not a navy bean. And ground black pepper to taste. So the first thing we will do is saute the garlic and the onions and the celery in that 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And we will be cooking this and just letting it simmer until both the onions and the celery are somewhat translucent. And add the garlic, and we'll let that cook for just about 4 minutes. As you can see, this is just about ready. The onions are starting to get that translucent see-through, and this is when we are going to be adding the fennel, the red pepper, and the oregano. Just sprinkle that over what is sauteing. We will add the orange zest now. And the flavors that are coming out of this pan are incredible. We are going to just let that blend for maybe a minute, longest possible time, 2 minutes. At this point, we're going to add that tablespoon of anchovy paste, which is so much like anchovy toothpaste, it's ridiculous, or those mashed up anchovies. You're not even going to realize there is an anchovy in this. It's just a salty under flavor, so if you're not a fan of anchovies, don't worry about it. Stir that in, and now we will add those 2 cans of diced tomatoes. Blend everything in that has been cooking, and we're going to take that whole rind of cheese. We're going to drop it right in there. So we're going to let these flavors blend and simmer. We'll bring it to a boil first and then turn it down to a slow simmer for 10 minutes. Okay, this has simmered down. The tomatoes have blended in. And now what I have here is 3½ cups of chicken broth. You could use vegetable broth also. We will add that to the tomato mixture. And 2 cups of just water. We will also add that ½ pound of orzo at this point. We're going to stir that in. Bring it back to a boil. And once it reaches that boil, we are going to just cook it until that little orzo pasta is cooked. About 9 to 10 minutes will make it al dente with a little bit of firmness to it. If you like a little softer pasta, cook it 10 to 12 minutes. And now we'll add the beans. That final touch of protein and taste. And remember, the cannellini beans and the Great Northern, all the white beans are like little sponges, and they just absorb the flavors that they are cooking with. And what we're absorbing here is this wonderful combination of the orange and the garlic and the fennel, and all of it just comes together in a richness that you will not be able to pick out one single flavor, but you will say, what is this? So we are going to be letting this simmer again for 10 minutes. If you like an al dente pasta, that little orzo in 9 to 10 minutes will still be a little firm. If you like a softer pasta, you'll cook it about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, everything has simmered together nicely. It's time to serve. Remember, we have that piece of rind in here, which you might try to find and fish out. Not that it's a big deal. Actually, whoever gets it could win something, like another bowl of soup. So, we'll put that in a big soup bowl, scoop from the bottom, get all that orzo. Get the white beans. Oh, this smells wonderful. We'll serve it here. What you could do, if you want a little bit more to it, you could add a little extra Parmesan to taste for each serving. You can also add just a little drizzle of that good olive oil we were talking about. You want a nice full-bodied extra virgin, just to add more flavor to something that's so flavorful, it really doesn't need it. A nice chunk of bread. And here you go. It's beautiful, it's filling. This is so good. This makes me forget all the sad things this pandemic is about, like that I had to cut my own hair this morning. But if you're enjoying these recipes, let me swallow my pasta fagiole. Please subscribe to us on Facebook, the Daily Bean channel, and we'll be working our way through all the different colors and all the different proteins and all the different flavors. Thanks for watching.